The second half of every year, we seem to have more load of festivals. After Ganapati Visarjan, the first thing that happens is the Mahalaya Paksha beginning. It is a period of letting go, as if it is a cosmic staircase. At the end of Mahalaya is the first day of Navaratri.
Joyful Namaskara. Welcome to this next episode in our festival series. In the last episode, we saw that there is a big picture, a 30,000 feet view of the three big events, the Ganesha, followed by Mahalaya Paksha, also called Pitru Paksha, followed by Dashara, ending with Vijayadashmi. From this episode onwards, we will dive deeper into each one of this. Just a word of caution or a clarification. You will find me repeat certain aspects, certain points across episodes, and this repetition is deliberate. This is just to bring the connect back and also to reinforce. Let's dive deep into Pitru Paksha. Pitru Paksha has got two aspects. One is the Laya. Second, the Pitru. We will, in this episode, deal with the Laya aspect. In fact, certain foundational concepts which we need to understand before we can actually dissect Laya. The first concept that we must know is that this entire universe has got nothing but energy, vibrating particles. In fact, Isha Upanishad, first verse, first sentence says, Isha Vasya Vidam Sarvam. The second aspect to understand about energy is that energy moves in space and also affects a lot of other things. For example, I'm talking. This talk is energy. This energy is moving through space and you're hearing to me, and it will have an impact. It will have an influence. When we communicate with others, this is bound to happen. In fact, some people ask how distant planets which are light years away can affect us. Okay, a simple question, doesn't the sun affect us? The heat affect us? So when a sun which is also very distant away can affect us, the heat of the sun rather, I think the stars and planets can also affect us. I think what's important for us to understand is energy moves and affects everyone. This movement of energy is enabled or disabled based on certain events, situations which are happening in the cosmos. Imagine you running a 100-meter race. You clock less than 10 seconds. But if you run a 100-meter race with hurdles, it's very difficult to clock 10 seconds, right? In this case, the running is done by me, but the situation has added hurdles. Imagine I'm swimming. And if I'm swimming along the current, I will reach there faster. Just two examples to say that our actions will get impacted either positively or non-positively by certain cosmic events, which is through the movement of energy. This is, in fact, the basic principle of when you align with certain natural events on which we have no control, it causes a resonance. It makes the job easy and we also complete things faster. But whereas when we go against the current, as people say, the effort is more and also the output is lower. Right? This is also the foundation principle behind certain auspicious time, certain inauspicious time on a daily basis. You call it a Rahu Kalam, or you find auspicious time for conducting a homa or a wedding. The principle is the same. Certain events that are happening in the cosmos on which we have no control, if we come to know, we can make it beneficial to us. Another example is we cannot control the direction of the wind, but we can always adjust the sail, right, which is in our hands. The next principle that we must know before we get into understanding Laya is everything in the cosmos happens in a cycle. Right? Now, this cycle time varies depending upon the kind of event. For example, the complete dissolution of the planet, the total Laya of the planet, might take, say, a pralaya, takes so many years. Whereas for the sun to move from the northern hemisphere to the southern hemisphere, we call it ayana, it takes 6 months. Right? Or we call it paksha, the lunar cycle. For the full moon to become a no moon and no moon to become a full moon takes a paksha, which is 15 days. The day and night happens in a day. Right? The cells of our body is born, maintained, and also dissolved at a different time span. So if you carefully see, the cycle that I talked about is the cycle of Srishti, Sthiti, Laya. Srishti is not creation, as I mentioned in the previous episode. Srishti is only unmanifest to manifest, because nothing gets created, nothing gets destroyed. Right? Sthiti is the maintenance part, and the Laya is not destruction, but dissolution. It's dissolving, right? It's rejuvenation, as somebody calls. This cycle happens continuously in this universe. I think we must be aware of this cycle. The summer, the winter, the seasons, right? Everything goes in a cycle. Now, during this cycle, the energy movements across all the cosmic elements can be either disabled or enabled because of time and space. We must understand this principle very well. In fact, one simple cycle to understand is the Paksha, where from no moon to full moon, the moon keeps increasing in size, which is a creative process. And from full moon to no moon, the moon starts reducing in size, which is a dissolution process. In fact, it's auspicious to do certain things during the Sukla Paksha, which is the period when the moon increases in size, than in Krishna Paksha. This is just an example. When we say Laya, the dissolution, there is a specific Paksha in a specific month. Every year, there is Laya facilitated in the total space. That is why this period is called Mahalaya. This is also the period when, if we align our Laya with the Mahalaya, the process creates resonance. Whereas when we try and do something creative during this time, it finds a lot of resistance. That's why during this Paksha, nothing creative or nothing auspicious is done. During this Paksha, we dissolve our attachments to our ancestors. Let me repeat. We dissolve our attachments to our ancestors by offering oblations, seeking their blessings, and making their further journey more easy, because attachments hold people together. This Mahalaya, which happens in this specific Paksha, enables each of us with blessings of our ancestors. Now, this blessing or a curse, everything is energy. Drishti, as we call, is energy. When someone looks at you or me with envious eyes, we call it drishti. We say it has some negative impact, right? I mean, that's the power of energy moving in space, right? So during this 15 days, the blessings of our ancestors move very freely between the world in which they are and the world in which we are. And it becomes easy for us to receive these blessings. In fact, there can be 1,000 questions around this. Where are they living? Is it a geographical location? As I had mentioned in my previous episode, right? If I do oblations, how will it reach them? If they are already born, to whom will it go? What if they are already born in my own home? Where will it go? Why are we not shaving during this time? Is it just superstition? Right? We need to address all of these questions, which we will address in the next episode. So, in this episode, we just set the foundational principles on which we are going to dive a little deeper into Pitru Paksha, Mahalaya Paksha, its associated rituals, and the reasons, and most importantly, the purpose why we do all this. Right? Stay tuned. Until next time. Namaskar.